You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
And today, I'm taking on another 3 of our most popular questions. These ones have been sitting there again for about a week or two. Really happy to be able to get to them, and I will absolutely get to every single question that you submit. Even if it means doing extra Cabral house calls, I don't mind at all. I'm very, very happy to do that. I feel it's my way of being able to give back, my way of, being able to work with just maybe the 30 people that I work with a week right now. You have to keep in mind, as a naturopathic doctor, I don't see people every 15 minutes. I don't see 30 people a day. I see maybe between 5 and 8 people per day, depending on the length of our appointment together, because my appointments have to be a little bit longer because they're education-based. I need you to understand how you got to where you are right now. And if you understand that, then you can understand the underlying root causes for whatever type of disease you've been labeled with. And then when you understand that, that gives you power. That allows you then to take better control or take back control of your health. And so again, I feel like I'm not able to serve as many people because I can only see between, like I said, 5 to 8 people a day. But this allows me to reach tens of thousands of people every single day, which is, I think, absolutely fantastic. So happy to do that. All right. Let's get started with your first question. First question is from Jen W. Jen W. is asking, should I be supplementing with resistant starch on my paleo diet? So basically, Jen wrote in saying she's on a paleo diet, been hearing a lot about this stuff about using some resistant starch in my plan. Is that okay? So here's the problem. The paleo diet is kind of completely made up, and I'm going to spend a whole episode talking about the paleo diet, but it's tweaked to whoever wants to give their version of the paleo diet. And that's the issue, is that humans certainly weren't eating protein, animal protein, at 3 meals per day. I mean, that's absolutely insane, to think about that. And then you think about all the foods that we excluded. So it's okay to cook meat when that hasn't been going on for that long, but it's not okay to sprout grains, and it's not okay. So you have to look at all these different things. And when we're talking about resistant starch, you're talking about getting in starches that would not necessarily be on the paleo-based diet that you now want to add in because you know that they can be beneficial to colon-based bacteria. What is, resistant starch? Well, resistant starch comes from things, the most resistant starch is basically in bananas that are still green or have that green tip, okay? But they also come from corn. It comes from oats. They can come from peas, beans, lentils, wheat, barley, what else? Some potato, but not a lot. So those are the main things. Okay, but the majority of those aren't on the paleo diet. So now we're talking about adding things in like a resistant starch supplement. That is not how supplements should be used, in my opinion. I don't want to come down on Jen for asking this question. It's a fantastic question. But that's the problem with when you become too dogmatic about something, is that you stop understanding how using whole food to your advantage can actually be really, really beneficial. Like in Ayurvedic medicine, it's about 10,000 years old, okay? They've used lentils forever, especially split mung beans. And split mung beans have always been used as a resistant starch because they increase butyrate inside the colon, basically more short-chain fatty acids. And when you have more short-chain fatty acids, it helps for healthy colon-based cells that would die otherwise. It allows for a better pH. It decreases ammonia and other waste byproducts. So for you not to add in some of these healthy things, like I use oats in my practice. And the reason I do is because we get phenomenal results for people with energy, with lowering of unhealthy cholesterol and LDL levels, with so many other things in terms of satiation. And oats have always been used, whether raw or cooked, in cultures around the world. We'll put it that way. And they've been used by the natural hygienists. Like, these are things that have been proven over time. I don't have a problem with them. I really don't. I don't see any downside unless, of course, you have a true sensitivity to it. And for a lot of autoimmune diseases, we do, of course, eliminate all grains in the beginning, but that is not a forever thing. What a diet doesn't mean that you're on it forever. It means that you have to find out what works best for your body. And there are these things, or this thing called bioindividuality. And a true naturopathic doctor works with bioindividuality. He understands that every person he works with, yes, they are human, but they have to be dealt with where they're coming at you in their life and how you can work with that. So, Jen, the simple question is, yes. So butyrate, butyric acid, and these resistant starches can be absolutely fantastic. I don't use them, just keep in mind, in the very beginning a lot of times, and that's because they can also act as a prebiotic. And for a lot of people I work with who have Crohn's, colitis, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, IBS, any of those things, I don't use them in the beginning because they could actually cause too much fermentation in the gut, and that's not what we want. We want to clear out that excess bacteria, the Clostridium-based bacteria. We want to clear out the excess candida. And then probably about 12 weeks later, we're going to start adding those back in 12 to 16 weeks later. So, Jen, hopefully that answers your question. Get your resistant starch from food, all right? Use those bananas if you would like. Use the good quality gluten-free oats, a little bit of non-GMO blue corn or something like that if you choose to. You can use some white beans, some lentils, one of my personal favorites, especially the split mung beans, just so great, overall, can be so great overall for your overall lipid profiles. And so check those out. All right, hopefully that answers your question. Next up is Peter. Peter asks, why am I able to eat more carbs on your plan and still keep my blood sugar levels healthy? Okay, so Peter is one of the, so probably answered questions before from Peter, but because they're great questions. He's one of the diabetics that I do work with. And so he's confused about why the nutrition plan that I have him on that actually allows for a little bit more carbohydrates on his plan, meaning like not completely eliminating all fruit and things like that in his plan. And that's because a lot of people don't, and a lot of doctors, I should say, don't understand how the cell membrane and cell membrane receptors work to pull sugar into the cells. Okay, what I mean by this is when the cell membranes, which are made up of soft fats and hard fats, are too, we'll say this way, it's clogged up. Okay, it doesn't allow for a lot of sugar to come in, and those receptors are blocked. What happens is that your body can produce enough insulin, but the cell membrane dynamics don't allow for that sugar to come in. So if we can decrease the amount of oxidized omega-6 fats within 90 to 120 days, we turn over all of our red blood cells. We then allow for those new receptors and cell membrane dynamics to be cleaner, and then we can slowly and gradually increase carbohydrates in the diet while still watching blood sugar levels. So that was kind of some advanced biochemistry right there, and I apologize if that went like way over your head, but think of it this way. We're decreasing omega-6s, like we're not cooking with oils, okay? We're not eating a lot of processed foods. We're making sure that we watch how much saturated fat we get. Now, I'm not saying all saturated fats is bad, but we're also watching that we don't create too many sterols, harder fats in those cell membranes. So again, I use things strategically based on who I see in my practice. Maybe some people need more sterols, right? Because they're too catabolic, they break down too quickly, but not typically with a diabetic. So that is why we're cleaning up those cell membranes over a period of 90 to 120 days, because that's when your cells turn over, your red blood cells. And then we're able to then start with a cleaner plate, shall we say, and then we allow for the sugar, which is you're producing tons of insulin, to then be pulled into the cells. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. Pam A is up next. Pam is asking, is it okay to use an infrared sauna if I'm pregnant? Okay, great question. We have an infrared sauna in my Boston practice, Cabral Wellness Institute in Boston. If you're ever in the area, if you're ever outside of the Massachusetts area, Boston area, stop by. We'd love to see you. Come in, take a look at our facility, but also we would be happy to have you and use something like our infrared sauna if you're not used to using something like that for detoxification. Works great, been proven to work well for Lyme disease, but especially for heavy metals and just overall detoxification. But here's the thing, there are contraindications, and yes, it is not a wise thing to do if you are pregnant, but also not a wise thing to do if you're nursing as well. We don't work on detoxification, and we do not want to overheat the body while pregnant or nursing. Okay, that's really important. But also, Pam, you should not use any sauna, not just an infrared sauna, while pregnant or nursing. All right? And that's because not only do we want to create too much heat in the body as well. That's not healthy for the unborn baby. But also, we don't want to pull toxins out of the cells, allow them to circulate then in the blood, and potentially then move through the placenta to the unborn baby. So that's why. Very safe to do before getting pregnant, okay? Even while trying to, that's okay, because you're going to be sweating it out. You're going to be working on your detox, which is actually highly advantageous. And I work with so many women prenatal, meaning like really before they're pregnant, making sure that they get the nutrition they need, that they detoxify, that they clean up their body. Such an important thing to do. If you can do the Dr. Cabral detox as well as infrared sauna or sauna to get those toxins out, such a great thing, because we know that babies are being born right now with at least a minimum of 72 toxins in their body. It's just absolutely, it's criminal. It's a shame, but that's why our kids are not starting off life that as healthy as they should. So Pam, hopefully that answers your question, and we, or anyone else, any infrared sauna place, would be happy to have you after you are done being pregnant and nursing, because then you can, again, fully detoxify the body after that process as well. Thank you everyone for submitting great questions this week, and also tuning in to another full week of the Cabral Concept.
Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.